Hey, I'm Kian Forreal, and I work at Innovision Tattoo Studio in Sydney, Australia. I've been tattooing for 17 years. Been working here intermittently for about 5. Yeah, I got lots of shitty tattoos when I was really young. And I just sort of fell into it, you know. It was just, just seemed like there was nothing else I wanted to do, so it just kind of worked out that way. My dad had a tattoo, like an eagle, which I ended up redoing years later, and I was obsessed with it. It was a shit tattoo. One of those green, blobby, World War II style tattoos. When I was like 7, 8 years old, I used to draw on wax paper with like markers and do transfers on my friends and shit, and I'm just really obsessed with it, right? And then hand poke your shit when you're 12, and you know, just keep fucking yourself up, right? Until you actually went and get a tattoo that's real. When I got my little skull here, my little exploited skull, my punk rock 15-year-old, yeah, he was doing it. It was like the weirdest thing. I ended up working for Crazy Ace in Toronto for 5 years, and then I went traveling around Canada, and then ended up going to Europe and blossoming over there, and then traveling throughout Europe and Asia and Australia, and then back. And it was more the blood and gut street shop apprenticeship of line him up and knock him out. I went to Holland, worked there for 6 months with Gregory, a dragon tattoo, which was awesome. He went away, so he gave me his chair and his Japanese tattoo clients, so it was just like thrown on the deep end, you know, like, hey, here's 10 sleeves for you, and here's 2 back pieces. And like, wow. I mean, it's very much like where I come from, like Toronto, except for it doesn't have shitty weather and it has beaches. And the Australians are similar to Canadians in the temperament and sort of moralistic view of the world. There's not too many people who do what I do here, so, you know, I have a good time here. I do like 90%, 95% traditional. I try to keep it really strict traditional. I'm still learning. I mean, I'm just like a grasshopper. But obviously, in the beginning, yeah, everyone looks at Philip Liu. They're like, wow, that's great. He's really artistic. I've kind of moved away from that style because his is very European style Japanese. Now I mostly look at people that are like the godfathers of Japanese. I look at like Horiyoshi 2, Horiyoshi 3 for some stuff, Horitoshi, you know, guys like that, the real traditional old school dudes. For my contemporaries, you know, I'm really keen on Marco Serio's work, Chris O'Donnell's work, Troy Denning's work, obviously Gregory, Trevor McStay, like these the guys that are really, you know, Henning, of course, is a good friend of mine. I've worked for him several times. Like those guys that do the Western traditional Japanese stuff, you know. I've been there 4 times now. I've never worked there. Yeah, it was definitely inspiring, right? Especially like, you know, you tattoo cherry blossoms and then you never seen one. But then you actually see it and you're like, fuck, what I draw looks nothing like what a cherry blossom looks like, right? And the same with a lot of stuff, you know, you see the actual, where Hokusai was drawing shit from, because you're looking at guys that are copying Hokusai, and you go back and see the source, and you're like, wow, look at the disparity in this and that, right? So it lets you recalibrate what you're drawing. And that's why a lot of tattooing now sucks, because people can't even bother to look at a fucking rose. You know, they're looking at the guy who was looking at the guy who was looking at the guy who drew a rose and tattooed it. And you get these things that look like weird red cabbages. And a lot of tattooing is that now. All they're doing is they're on MySpace and they're downloading shit, and that's their reference library instead of buying a book or sticking their head out the window, you know? People always ask me, how do you get into tattooing? It's like the same as how you get into drug dealing. First of all, you become a client. You get to know your supplier, and if you're cool, then you get shown certain avenues, you know, and that's the way it should be, and that's what keeps it real, right? I guess my long-term goals are just keep doing bigger, better pieces, you know? Yeah, I still enjoy doing a half sleeve, but now they go so fast, you know, I much prefer doing the 3/4 with a chest plate, rib pieces, backs, you know, stuff like that, stuff that I can spend more time drawing the drawing, and then more time tattooing it, making it really super sweet. Thanks for checking us out. I'm Kian. Thanks for being me, for coming to the shop at Innovision Studio in Sydney. You can reach me on my website at kianforreal.com. That's how you spell my name. Just send me an email or whatever. Safe travels.